In For Honor, your opponent doesn't have to parry the normal way in order to get a parry, and if you're trying to feint a heavy and punish their raw heavy attack, if they choose one of the other options, a lot of the time you'll get blown up or your punish won't work. There's a lot of things you can do if they do a raw heavy attack. You can just parry it, you can do a light, you can start up your own heavy. The simplest thing that they can do is they can feint their heavy that they use to parry, and in which case you can either use a light to try to catch them during the feint, or you can do a guard break. They can also parry with the zone attack input, because it contains a heavy, you can just parry with it. In the case of Warden, you can just guard break on block. Warden and some other characters have a bug where you can press heavy and then guard break a couple of frames later, and you'll just get a guard break, but it counts as a parry for whatever reason. If you think that's going to happen, you just want to attack into it. Warden can counter with a top light, so if you're feinting from the top, he might try to do that. That's a light, you can parry it if he does it. So we're going to start all these with zone attack, unless there's some other weird option that modifies the universal stuff. Raider's zone attack looks like this. It's a heavy, he can feint out of it. So be wary for some weird mind games there. But pretty much if you think he's going to follow through, you want to either parry it or just go through it. He can also cancel the startup of any heavy into a stunning tap. That counts as a parry. If you think he's going to do it, just parry it right back. It always comes from the top. Raider can dash through attacks. Everybody can dash through attacks, but notably he does have a side dash attack and a forward dash attack. You can just do stunning tap out of a dash. He can also do a grab out of a dash, which isn't shown. If you think he's going to grab, just grab his dash first. If you think he's going to do stunning tap, just parry it. This is assuming that you feint and force him to do something. Kensei zone attack looks like this. You can parry it at the end, but I'm not going to show that because it takes too long. He can feint. It has armor at the beginning, and then after he's feinted, he can do whatever he wants. So you can just hit him once for free, and then just go back to neutral. Or if you think he's going to grab, for example, you can just press another button and blow up the grab. You're just playing the game again. His dashes have block frames. They also have invincibility, so he might try to either dash early to get the invincibility or dash late to get the block frames, and then do a side dash attack. He can't do side dash grab. His grab range is not long enough, and he can't cancel it directly. One of the things that you're most worried about is he can do a forward dash grab, and he can take advantage of the block frames and just get in through your attack. If you think he's going to do that, that's what it looks like if you're not looking for it and you feint. If you think he's going to do that, just feint and then press a button, and your button will have grab invincible frames, and you'll just blow him up. If you think he's going to do a side dash attack, just parry it. If you think he's going to use block frames and do a forward dash attack, just parry it, as you'll see here. Yay, this is just a theme. If you think there's a side dash attack or a forward dash attack, parry it. If you think there's an empty dash, just guard break it. Conqueror has some stuff. First of all, he doesn't actually need to parry heavies. He can just block, and he just gets a guard break. And that's pretty universal. If he wanted to, though, he can parry a couple of ways. The cutest way that he can parry is by beginning to charge a heavy. That's what his zone attack looks like. It takes some stamina, but it doesn't do any damage. You have to basically parry the first hit. Puts him pretty far, but it does have all block frames while he's doing it, and it is grab invincible. You can see that my home dog was able to begin charging a heavy while he parried, and then we're going to see what that looks like if I feint. He just starts charging, and he can just block. He can't guard break there, but he can release the heavy, which does a lot of damage, and will blow up your guard break attempt if he parries it right and reads it. If he goes into all block stance and then does a shield charge, it's got a couple of top counter frames. You can bait that out by moving out of the way and punishing it as you would a shield bash. But you probably don't want to attack into it. It's got a bunch of all block frames. Warlord isn't quite as bad. First of all, Warlord's heavies have armor, so if you're trying to be cute and bait them out, a lot of the time he's going to win, and a lot of the time he's going to win damage. Warlord heavies do a lot of damage. So you want to be careful there. If you think he's going to do it, just honestly parry. He does have a lot of options, though, so it can be a little bit overwhelming, and a smart Warlord player is going to keep you on your toes with all of his options. The guard break invincibility on his heavy starts up fairly late. His zone attack is very fast. It always comes from the same side, but you can just parry it and get damage. When he's in all block stance, he also has superior block lights. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun. They look like that. Basically, the beginning of his lights have block frames on them, so he can just light into your not light. You can just parry it, though. He doesn't really suffer from block stun when he's in all block stance, so any of the all block stance follow-ups are going to be guaranteed. if he catches you after blocking a heavy. You can feint the heavy and then bait out the follow-up. I believe heavy always comes from the same side and light always comes from his block direction, but I could have that backwards. The parry timings are a little bit different, but neither one is particularly difficult. The thing that you're most scared of is him doing headbutt here. If you think he's going to do headbutt here, honestly, don't even try to dodge it. It's a headbutt. What I would instead do is just feint and then press a button to try to stuff it. If you do feint and then press a button to try to stuff it, though, the other follow-ups can sometimes win, so you get into the same sort of screwed up guessing game that you do in the Warden Vortex, where nobody's answers are good. So feinting on him is a little bit complicated because of this. Yeah, you can see you can just blow it up with an attack, although you don't really get much. It has to be light. Shigoki has a bunch of weird stuff going for him. We're just going to start off by showing his zone attack. You can cancel it after the first hit. Like all zone attacks that you can cancel after the first hit, it's massively positive on block. If you think he's going to zone attack, just parry. Like basically everybody other than Warden. Parrying it isn't too difficult. Shigoki has, this is what parrying it looks like. Shigoki has armor universally. If you hit him or guard break him, it goes away. But while he has armor, one of the cute things that he can do is, rather than trying to parry, he can just attack back into your attack. He can grab into your attack too, which is super scary because if he wall throws, he gets a Demon's Embrace, which heals him and does a pretty big chunk of damage to you. I don't show that, but be very wary. If you think he's going to do those, then feint and react to whichever option you think you would have chosen. He can cancel the startup of a heavy directly into Demon's Embrace. This counts as a parry if you let your attack through. If you don't let your attack through, Demon's Embrace comes out. So be ready for it. If he still has armor, this can blow up a lot of things, but I'm not going to show that. Finally, he can charge heavies, which varies the timing. When he has armor, this is dangerous. When he doesn't have armor, it's not as dangerous, but if you're trying to parry and he lets fly a full charge unblockable and you parry it early because you're not expecting it, he can do a bunch of damage, so be aware of that. Peacekeeper has, in her kit, the guard break off of a heavy thing. This is what her zone attack looks like. It's very, very fast. She can cancel it after the first hit. Like all the others, it's massively positive. You pretty much have to parry this on anticipation, but if you do, it's not only a pretty big mental blow because you've shown the Peacekeeper that you can deal with it, but it also takes a bunch of stamina, so she's pretty much out of stamina if you parry one. She can cancel the startup of a heavy from neutral only, not in chains, into a dash in any direction or a guard break. If she does a side dash attack, you want to try to parry it. If you think she's going to empty dash, just guard break it. That will work on all dashes, including back, which I'll show more examples of later. If you think she's going to cancel directly into a guard break, just press a button, blows up the guard break. Not too much there. She has a deflect, which functions similarly to if she had canceled a heavy into a side dash, or a forward dash if you were doing a forward heavy. She doesn't get too much damage off of deflect, but it is a safer option, in air quotes, than parries, although again, because you can just dash cancel her heavies, it's not too different. You could theoretically punish the time when she's in a heavy, but again, same thing. If you think she's going to side dash attack, parry it. If you think she's going to empty dash, just do a guard break. And as you can see, even Warden's pitiful dash range will just always track a back dash if you start close enough. The key thing here is how close you start. And you can start fairly far, especially because Warden top heavy in this case. It's a bad example because it moves him way forward. But, I mean, again, I'm just going to show this a couple more times to prove that you can just chase that down really easily. Before we move on to Berserker. Berserker has kind of the same thing going on. He can cancel any heavy anytime, even in chains, into a dash, which is different from Peacekeeper. He can't cancel into a grab without abusing the bug, and again, the bug is a little bit inconsistent and a little bit character-specific. I don't know if I can do it reliably with him. It, again, seems easiest on Warden. Conqueror can also do it fairly easily, but Conqueror doesn't need to. His own attack is parryable. You can parry it after blocking. You can parry it before blocking. Doesn't really matter. The thing that you're most scared of is back zone, which has armor and moves him way backwards. I couldn't find anything that would reliably punish it. It costs him stamina, but he's just pretty much out. That's what it looks like if he cancels a heavy directly into a dash. If you think he's going to do empty dash, just guard break it. If you think he's going to do a dash attack, just parry it. Or block it, either one. Both are good. He's got a deflect. Deflect is a dash. He doesn't need to press a button to get the deflect damage out. It just automatically guard breaks. So he can either do it from an empty dash or normal dash. Same thing as punishing, as if he had canceled a heavy. If you think he's going to do the dash attack, just parry it. If you think he's going to do an empty dash, guard break it. This is what Orochi's zone attack looks like. It's pretty fast. It's a little bit tricky to parry. I personally am really bad at it, but it's definitely a thing that you should practice. It'll make the matchup way easier from neutral as well. Orochi has a deflect. In order to get damage, he's almost always going to do a light attack out of the deflect, which will give him a side dash light, which I'm showing backwards for some reason. But you can just parry that and get damage. If you think he's on like Yomi level 7 and he's like looking to do a right click, or sorry, a heavy attack out of the deflect, then he might do an empty dash. In that case, just go ahead and punish it with a guard break if you're anticipating it. I mean, to be fair, if you try to dodge the 50 damage unblockable, then he can just guard break you, which is also a little bit more damage than a normal deflect, but it's screw you down there. Lawbringer doesn't have too much. That's what Lawbringer's zone attack looks like. It's pretty hard to not parry, honestly. It's just like the natural timing that I want to parry at, so I apologize for getting those clips backwards. Out of any block, though, he can just cancel his block stun into a shove, puts him at frame advantage, does stamina damage to you. It's pretty good, so just be aware of that. If you think he's just going to shove, then and you feint a heavy, a guard break will come out, so just feint and then press a button. This is what Valkyrie's zone attack looks like. This is what it looks like when she cancels. Like all of the other two zone attacks, it's positive if she cancels. Valkyrie can cancel a heavy directly into shield charge. She doesn't get too much off of it, but it's pretty safe. If shield charge has all block frames, so if you're just following up with either another heavy or light or even a guard break, she'll blow you up. So you actually want to follow up with a dash, and then you can get pretty much whatever you want if you think she's going to do that. Valkyrie also has superior block lights, which come out pretty fast, so if you do like heavy feint into another heavy, she's just going to hit you out of it, as a poor example. If you're ready for those, then you can definitely parry them and get damage, same as Warlord. Valkyrie's backwards shield charge has a bunch of all block frames and a bunch of follow-ups. It's in practice unpunishable, you just have to make a guess as to what she's going to do after it. She also has deflect. Deflect button, if you parry and she does it, you can, or sorry, if you feint and she does it, then you can parry. Deflect nothing, or deflect into the guard break because she doesn't have a side dash guard break, just won't do anything, and you can just throw with that dash, looks like this. We're going to show the parries in a second. Again, though, if a Valkyrie shows that she's willing to do the backdash shield charge, I don't think you want to be feinting, because she's just going to do that, and then you have to make a guess, not her. It's great. Well, she has to make a guess, too. Obviously, some of the things are punishable. Nobushi can cancel block stun directly into a backdash. It's kind of cool. I apologize for not actually showing her zone attack. The Nobushi footage that we got is a little bit lacking. The thing that you're most worried about is her canceling a heavy into hidden stance or doing raw hidden stance and then side dashing your attack, which looks something like that. You can side dash out of hidden stance. The timing is weird. Yeah, it looks like that. She gets big damage if she chooses to go for the heavy. You can parry it or you can block it if you're anticipating it. She can also do the light, which just poisons you, and is a mix-up as to which side you should block and which side you should parry on. She can cancel the startup of a heavy into the side dash, or she can just do, or sorry, she can cancel the startup of a heavy into hidden stance and then side dash out of the hidden stance, or she can just do raw hidden stance. She can also side dash directly through your attack, although that is very tricky to time. Her zone attack is pretty easy to parry once you've seen it. Again, I apologize for not having footage. Hopefully this gave you some defensive ideas and gave you some ideas about how you can punish people's defense. If you like the video, do whatever it is you want to do with it.